Hi everyone, welcome back to Aspergers from the Inside. You're here with Paul. I make weekly videos sharing the human side of autism, so make sure you hit subscribe to get the latest content. So I don't know about you, but I find it easy to be overwhelmed by the amount of things that I need to do on a maybe not daily, but weekly basis. So in today's video, I want to talk a little bit about how I help manage certain aspects of that, because trying to be productive and manage burnout and have a life at the same time is something that I think a lot of us struggle with. So you might know that I love analogies, and my analogy for this one is it's like juggling. Like if you're juggling 3 balls, right? It's significantly harder to juggle 4. Maybe you can juggle 4, but what about 5? What about 6? Sometimes when you add just one extra thing, all of them drop, because suddenly I'm trying to manage juggling 5 balls, which is completely out of my league, but it's only 1 out of my league. I can actually do 4, not too bad. And so adding that extra one means that my attention is scattered, and suddenly I'm dropping absolutely everything, and it feels like nothing is working. Whereas actually, I'm only a tiny little bit over my limit. And what happens is if I take away that one extra little thing that's overloading me, suddenly I'm back within the bounds of what I can deal with, what I can cope with. And the stress and anxiety that is caused directly by being overloaded, knowing that I'm overloaded, knowing that I can see my energy going like this and it's not going to last until the end of the week. I don't know how I'm going to survive that. Instead of it's a bit like you're driving towards a cliff or a brick wall or something, and you're like, I need to put the brakes on pretty quickly, otherwise I'm not going to be able to avoid hitting this wall or falling off this cliff. And there's a huge level of extra stress and extra anxiety that comes from just the intellectual aspect of knowing that things are too much. From past experience, I know what happens when things are too much. I mean, there's a couple of things that could happen. Maybe I will just feel really terrible for the entire time, and I'll manage to push myself through it, and I'll manage to survive somehow, but it will be an absolutely painful experience. Maybe I will completely crash. Just push, and then hit a brick wall, and then that's it. No more. Or maybe I'll get to like a burnout situation. There are so many things that from past experience I know are likely to happen, and therefore I'm worrying that I'm overloaded. One of these really bad things is going to happen, and I don't even have the mental bandwidth to think about it logically and rein in this crazy anxiety-driven prediction of the future back to what is actually likely to happen in reality. It's all a great emotional regulation management strategy is to actually put words to emotions and to bring it back from this crazy, everything's connected to everything else, amorphous like feeling of anxiety of something is going to happen. Well, yeah, but what is that thing? What are you actually worried about? So you can write down, I'm worried that if I don't get this project in time, I'm going to fail my university subject or something. And all of a sudden, it's exactly the same thing, only it's a real thing, that a real finite thing you can actually deal with. That's not what I originally wanted to tell you when I started recording this video. What I originally wanted to tell you is that a trick that I've learned this week especially is that sometimes the simple act of planning everything that is going to happen in a week, and being realistic about that allows me to know that I don't need to worry about tomorrow's problems today. I find that if I don't have a finite list of accomplishable things on my to-do list today, that I know I can take a break at the end of the day when these things are done, then what happens is I end up just trying to do more and more and more and more and more. And then eventually I'm forced to stop at the end of the day because it's dinner time, or I'm too tired, or something else runs out of time. And it's not a very satisfying process because I've been stressed all day thinking that I don't have enough time. So even the very simple act of planning out what is the most important thing. So sometimes it's just list the one or two most important things. Like if I was sick, like if I had the flu, or I literally couldn't get out of bed today, right, I'd take a sick day or something like that. What would I have to do even if I wasn't feeling well? And then that helps to prioritize and bring it back into reality so that I'm not constantly stressed about it. So what I find when I do this is that now, because the additional level of stress has dissipated a little bit, I can actually be productive in the one or two things that I'm doing. Great, good job. And then I can rest and actually be productive, for lack of a better word, in the rest, because I'm not spending my rest period worrying that I should be working, or worrying that I don't have enough time to rest because I've only got an hour break and then I need to go back to it and it's not going to be enough time. And that can be anxiety producing in itself. So it's kind of a bit of a binary situation that we're trying to set up. So the worst case, which I unfortunately often find myself in, is I'm too tired to do any work. So I'm trying to be productive and just getting absolutely nowhere. And then I take a rest, but I've got too much work to do to actually turn my brain off and actually rest, so I don't successfully rest. And then I go back to work, but I'm still too tired, so I don't get any work done. And then I go to rest. You can see how that is not a very good cycle to be in. So how to get out of that cycle? One strategy that I'm sharing with you today is to plan out a finite schedule of what I'm planning to do in a week, so that specifically for the purpose of not thinking about tomorrow's work today, right? One of my favorite passages is, today's trouble is enough for today. That is just a really liberating line for me in terms of anxiety, in terms of what is enough. How do I know that I've done enough work? How do I know that I've done enough preparation, that I've made enough videos, that I've had enough of an impact, that I've given, when is it enough? When is anything enough? So until I define for myself what is enough in advance, so that I know with full confidence that when I get to that enough point, I am going to take a break, and I am not going to worry that I haven't done tomorrow's work yet, because it's not tomorrow yet. Tomorrow, I will wake up and do tomorrow's work, and then I will have another break, and then the day after, I will do the day after's work. So for me personally, sometimes all of the whole week's worth of work ahead gets piled into Monday morning, and then by 9 a.m. Monday morning, I'm already completely wrecked. So this is a bit of a strategy to just take away the stress and anxiety and make sure that I'm not pushing myself too hard, because I know the consequences of pushing myself too hard. Firstly, it's not very productive. Secondly, it leads to burnout very quickly. So that's a quick strategy that I thought I'd share with you today. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you again next week. Bye.